So today I thought I would take you on a little tour of the herbs in my garden. In the front of my yard I have chamomile. I actually am growing 3 pots of chamomile in hanging planters along the walkway up to my yard. Actually, these hangers are actually extra long since I'm only 5 feet tall, and at the bottom of them I can actually pour the water in the bottom, so I don't have to worry about getting on the stepladder every time I want to water the pots. I do unfortunately have to get my stepladder when I want to harvest my herbs, but that's okay. So I'm growing a Roman chamomile here. Roman chamomile is a perennial, so it should come back next year unless we have some horrible winter here in Indiana. You could also plant German chamomile. German chamomile is an annual and you have to replant it every year. In my backyard, I decided to put my shepherd hooks to use. Typically, I just put my shepherd hooks in random places in my yard and put different plants in them. But this time I decided to put them all in the same spot to kind of create a sort of effect here, and I really like it. I actually have 5 shepherd hooks here and 5 plants, and 3 of them are rosemary. So this is one of the rosemary plants, and then 2 of them are lavender. And it actually looks pretty nice here in front of my daylilies. This is actually the best my rosemary has ever grown, and also the same for lavender. I haven't grown lavender in a few years, so I'm pretty excited about this. And we're going to try to make some lavender rosemary sugar cookies, so that's going to be one of our projects for this summer. On my deck, I actually have 3 planters that are built into my deck, and in each planter we decided to plant some mint. We actually planted the mint here last year, and this planter right here is chocolate mint. If you move over past this bench to my other planter, this is spearmint. Last year we planted sweet mint in this pot and it did not return this year, so we actually switched it out with spearmint. The spearmint just now started to grow. Actually, we were really worried about it. And over here in this other planter, just a little bit more chocolate mint, and we already harvested some chocolate mint and made some mint tea lemonade yesterday, and it was pretty delicious. Well, pretty much any place I have space to grow an herb, I'm going to. So this is actually my sunroom, and I have a nice little ledge here, and I have 6 planters on the ledges in my sunroom. Over here, I have some cilantro growing from seed. This is the 2nd year that we have grown cilantro. And this planter is French tarragon and some more cilantro. Then in the middle here, and the 2 taller ones here in the middle, this is Mexican tarragon. And then on the outside is more French tarragon. And then it's kind of like a mirror image. So on this side, you have more French tarragon, cilantro, and then this is all cilantro. So there's actually 3 types of tarragon. There is Russian tarragon, Mexican tarragon, and French tarragon. Russian tarragon has the smell, but it has no taste. You can't do anything with it, so that's why we don't grow it. French tarragon is really good using it fresh or for drying. And then Mexican tarragon, the whole plant is edible. In a while here I will have yellow flowers that will grow on the Mexican tarragon, and you can eat the flowers as well as the leaves. Mexican tarragon is actually best used fresh because when you dry it, it loses the flavor. So typically here in the summertime we harvest the Mexican tarragon and use it fresh, and then we dry the French tarragon. Then up here I have a hanging potter, and we have just started some basil in this hanging pot. And then over here I have 2 more pots, and we actually just potted this yesterday, and what will grow over here is marjoram. Marjoram is a real nice herb to use on in beans or on meat like fish. This is my backyard, and back here mostly I am planting fruit, vegetables, but I also squeezed in some herbs. So over here is my sage plant, and actually our sage is growing faster than I can harvest it. So this week one of the tasks that my boys and I will complete is harvesting and drying some of this sage. Beside the sage is actually some chives. Before we actually have French tarragon growing, And this just wasn't a good spot for the French tarragon. We tried to grow French tarragon over here for the last 3 years, and after year 3 we were like, have to try something else. Then kind of across the aisle here we have some oregano, and then we have some thyme. My thyme actually flowered, but that actually doesn't change the flavor of the thyme. So once all the petals fall off from the flower, we'll be able to harvest the thyme some more. And this is actually my blueberry plant, but my boys and I decided to put some basil seeds out here. So you can see right here we actually have some basil growing, and we actually put some basil seeds over here around the tomato plant, and this is some purple basil down here by our tomato plant, because once this tomato plant gets big, it'll provide just the right amount of shade so the plant won't burn up and actually have room to grow. And in the back, I am growing something I've never grown before, right underneath my kale, and this is nasturtium. This plant is completely edible also, just like the Mexican tarragon. You can eat the leaves and the flowers. We haven't tried it yet, but once we start harvesting some of this kale and spinach and radishes, we're actually going to throw this into the salad. It's supposed to have a peppery taste.